What's going on, leaders? It's your boy Sinatra here again with another episode of the Global Sport Report. Today we're going to be talking about 5 NFL teams that everyone is sleeping on. These are teams that people have low expectations for them, but we're here to talk about how they can exceed people's expectations. So without further ado, let's get the video started. All right, leaders. So the first team we're going to be talking about today is the Tennessee Titans. Yes, the same Tennessee Titans that were underdogs in all 17 games they played last season. The same Tennessee Titans that was in the lower half for offensive metrics like rushing yards per game and receiving yards per game. Now, what's interesting that they went ahead and did this offseason is the moves they made and the draft picks that they made. So they went ahead and got Carnell Tate out of Ohio State with 4th overall in the first round, and Nick Singleton from Penn State. I believe he fell in the 5th round. But he's a great talent, right? Highly rated out of his time in Penn State. Is 3rd on the depth chart right now. First, of course, being Tony Pollard, and then Tyjae Spears, and then Nick Singleton. But I do expect Nick Singleton to be the second choice at running back this year at some point in the year. They went ahead and appointed Brian DeBall as the offensive coordinator. And of course, Rob Saleh is the coach of the Titans. So with DeBall coming as the offensive coordinator, they went ahead and signed Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants. Somebody that's familiar with DeBall and how he runs his offense. So one thing I will say, though, expect Carnell Tate to score more than 6 touchdowns this year. And I expect Wan'Dale Robinson to be a close wide receiver, too, on that team, of course, based on that familiarity he does have with DeBall and his offensive system. On the defensive side of the ball, the Titans are in the upper middle portion of the leaderboard when it comes to sacks. They did bring some defensive pieces in the draft, so they're really focused on working on that offense. That was the worst thing on the team last year, between the two, offense and defense. A little concerning that Fernando Carmona out of Alabama and Pat Coogan out of Indiana are not breaking through on the depth chart for that offensive line. It's like, hey, you guys know the offensive line was horrible last year. They were actually ranked 23rd in the whole NFL. And, these guys you brought in from the draft, I could see how the fans are a little scared about that. But, you want to get your vets out there, show them the ropes, and hopefully they can, add those 2 players that they drafted to the line, to help out in any way that they can. But, them not being listed as starters, at least one of them, is a little concerning. But, yeah, overall, with the addition of Carnell Tate and Wan'Dale Robinson, somebody that Brian DeBall is familiar with, you allow your number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, to shine and show his talents, and hopefully those new draft pieces help out the line and don't allow him to not have as much pressure. Again, out of college, he was the nonchalant quarterback. That's what they were coining him as. It's really hard to do that when the defense is in your face all the time. So, yeah, I think the offense is going to be a lot better this year, more than people expect it to be. Again, when you start at ground zero, only way to go is up. So, I just think that it'll be better than people's expectations. Or it could be. I should say it could be. All right, team number 2 that I'm taking as a sleeper pick this year to surpass people's expectations, we have, and get ready, New York, you're going to love this. Sorry, Jets fans. The New York Giants. I think the New York Giants are going to surprise a lot of people this year. John Harbaugh has just went from the Ravens, who he spent 18 seasons with, to the New York Giants. The team is hoping that their offensive weapons can mature to become certified NFL players, the likes of your Jackson Darts, your Cam Scatterbows, your Malik Neighbors, as well as they did pick up Odell Beckham Jr., who, hey, I'll show you guys the clip. He was keeping up with Neighbors. Don't know if that's because Neighbors isn't 100% yet, or if OBJ is old, or if OBJ is actually as good as Neighbors. We don't know, right? But they're keeping up with each other. Some people are saying it's a good sign. I don't want to give my opinion on it, right? They also got Isaiah Likely from the Ravens, who's a really fast tight end. And he does have that familiarity with John Harbaugh. So, definitely going to be sky's the limit. If they could stay healthy, this offense, expect them to put up numbers, right? If Jackson Dart can know when to run the ball, when not to run the ball, avoid, some of those concussion scares, that'd be great. In the draft, they also picked up Arvell Reese, who's a linebacker, really great linebacker out of college, and Francis Mauigoa. who was a offensive lineman on Miami. It seems like him and Jackson Dart have some great chemistry going on right now. And he should provide a very much needed boost to the offensive line that has been very bad historically for a lot of years. This one, I would say, take Scat Pack's line, touchdowns 8 or more at plus 165 right now. This is the same Cam Scatterbo that when he was healthy, he scored 3 touchdowns in one game. So, Cam Scatterbo is a maniac. He's crazy, and he's seeming to be ready for match week 1. So, yeah, I would definitely put the line on that for NFL futures. One thing that is a little bit concerning is that they were 5th worst in yards allowed per game and worst in yards per carry throughout the whole league. So not great, right? But if there's one person that knows how to turn a defense around, it's John Harbaugh. So yeah, this is they have the foundation to go out and do it. It's just that if their main guys can stay healthy. And I also want to see how Abdul Carter plays this year as well. But yeah, I think that the Giants can surpass expectations should they be healthy enough. Hey, you listening to the video right now, I'd really appreciate it if you go and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you subscribe, that'd be awesome. Support a young man for free with his aspirations to become one of the best sports analysts in the game. Right? Help me do that. And I'll ask you to press a couple buttons, type a couple words if you really want to. Yeah, support me. That'd be really helpful. I really appreciate that too. You would be considered an OG as well, so I'll remember you if you leave a good comment, hopefully. But yeah, let's continue the video. All right, the third team we'll be talking about today for sleeper teams is going to be the New Orleans Saints, right? The Saints this season, they do have the easiest schedule in the NFL. That's what people are saying. It does seem that way, though. The NFC South is very winnable this year, right? As we've seen, it's been very close with ass teams for the past years, right? So they do have a really good defense, actually 9th in yards allowed, 45 sacks this season, right? So nothing to be ashamed of, right? Pretty good defense. They did solve the stability at the running back department. They got Travis Etienne Jr. to replace Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara hasn't played a full season in the NFL, and I don't even know how long. So, to just have a guy who has consistently played every game of the season for many years with the Jaguars and Travis Etienne, who's a very competent, league-ready veteran running back who should get in there and hit the ground running. You have Jordan Tyson, who they drafted this year from Arizona State, 8th overall. If he shows off his talents, that'll allow Olave to not get double-teamed, to free up, make Tyler Show's job easier. Speaking of Tyler Show, him and Kellen Moore, they have developed a great relationship, right? Tyler Show was, I think, 25 when he entered the league, so a pretty old rookie. Kellen Moore brought him in to replace Spencer Rattler, and the two have been great. Shouts for Tyler Show to get Rookie of the Year. I don't believe he did. I do believe that was his division rival, Ted McMillan. But yeah, anyway, if they figure out the offense, they'll be good. And they got a running back that's capable. They got another great wide receiver, or a wide receiver who's supposed to be great. So yeah, I think that, especially with that good defense, they figure out the offense. I would not be surprised at all if they win the NFC South this year. The fourth sleeper team we're going to be talking about today is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. They were one of the best defenses in the league last year, or they had, rather. 3rd in yards allowed per game, 5th in sacks. This team is top-notch, ready to be great. The only problem is their quarterback was J.J. McCarthy, right? As evident, the offense is horrible. Bottom 5 for total offensive yards gained per game. What it comes down to, right? It's not the offensive line. You can't blame them because they're bang average, right? They're doing their job. They're not doing it great, and they're not doing it horrible. They're 18th in the league rating in terms of their offensive line. Now, the offensive scheme requires a quarterback with good vision and steady feet. J.J. McCarthy is simply not that, and his number 9 persona, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Even his coach, Kevin O'Connell, agrees. He overthinks it as opposed to just going out there and playing the game. He's overthinking it. He has his persona in his head. I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. But what they went ahead and did is they got Kyler Murray, right, to fix it. Is that the answer? We're going to see, right? We all know, it's not a surprise, Kyler Murray's short, right, in terms of a quarterback in the NFL. I mean, for Pete's sake, he's taller than me, but, we all know that he has good vision once he scrambles. The only question is, will the offensive scheme allow him to do that? The numbers say yes, right? The team is loaded on offense. They have Justin Jefferson, aka Jettis. They got Jordan Addison. Tight end, they have TJ Hawkinson, right? So I think if the Vikings can figure it out on the offensive side with the quarterback position, I think you can expect them to have a surprisingly decent year, even in the tough NFC North. At least to be better than what people expect. Let's see if Kyler Murray can do it, and he's not focusing on playing Call of Duty. All right, so the fifth and final team we have today is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals had the worst defense in the league last year, right? And as I've been saying throughout the video, if you're dead last, there's only one way to go, and that's up, right? So what they went ahead and did, they went ahead and added Dexter Lawrence. They also added Brian Cook from the Chiefs, who had 85 tackles last season. They brought in Boy Mafe, who's a Super Bowl winning defensive end with the Seahawks, Super Bowl winning Seahawks. They drafted Cassius Howell, who should play on the D-line somewhere at some point this season. He did have an 81.2 PFF grade, so, all right, great guy that they went ahead and brought in. All right, it's very important that they brought in those defensive pieces because they did lose Trey Hendrickson in free agency to their rivals, the Ravens, which stinks, but that's what they went ahead and did. Excuse me. The offensive line won't be crazy bad like it was last season, but it won't be great either, right? They did draft Dylan Fairchild, who is 81st overall from Georgia. He started 15 games as a rookie and ranked 74.3 in PFF pass blocking, which was first among rookie guards, right? So they expect him to get better, but not that much better, all right? But hey, even if the offensive line isn't terrific, look at the team that they went to with the Super Bowl, for the Super Bowl, right? When they played the Rams and unfortunately they lost. They didn't have a great offensive line then either. So if their defense can figure it out, I mean, this is one of the best. This is the best wide receiver room in the league. As long as Joe Burrow can stay healthy and his offensive line is a little bit better, I do think that there is potential for another Bengals Super Bowl. There, I said it. I'm not scared to say it, but there is potential. They didn't expect it when they went the year they played the Rams. So, all right, guys. So that does it for the video today. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys think these were good takes? Do you guys think another team is a dark horse and who can exceed people's expectations next year? Let me know down below. Without further ado, y'all stay blessed. Y'all have a great day. Peace out, leaders.